There's a slight chance of a mass shooting this afternoon, so make sure you pack your vest if you're going to the store today. Sweden said you don't gotta go home, but you can't eat here. Monique and DL Hughley made us all contract experts. Let's get it.
I listen to the black guy who
Jordan is
tips.
always on the coast.
I listen to the black guy who tips because Ron and Karen are on.
Right. Jordan is always on the coast.
That's legitimately the future. We really gonna be like a slight chance of we got an armed front coming from the south this week. So later on, make sure you pack a vest if you're going to a school or a church or any sort of grocery store.
Got a cold front of bullets.
Yeah, like that's what we at.
This?
Oh man, teachers gonna have to start raising money for school supplies because we don't even give them money for school supplies. They're gonna have to start raising money by saying it's for a gun. I think they could get the money
and buying pencils and papers with them.
Yeah,
instead.
like then you when the GoFundMe is over, you just go to Office Depot or wherever. Go to what's the store with the arts and crafts? Go there with the gun money and be like, oh, kids, the bad news is I didn't get an AR-15. The good news is we can color. Everyone gets a crayon.
Come in there with Michaels, and they be like, "How the fuck you get all this expensive Michael shit?"
You get a crayon. You get a crayon.
Coming back from Mary Jo's, have all the sewing equipment shit made from scratch.
Our country ain't shit, man. The official weapon of the show is
the taser.
Unofficial sport
Bullet
is Bullet Ball Extreme. Just as a heads up programming note, man, you may be watching this right now later on, I don't know, but we are experimenting with putting video on YouTube of our show, and it takes a while because you got to upload it. I got to edit the music out. Like, it's a bit of a pain.
Yeah, because YouTube is like music, bitch. No.
But we're gonna try to put that out there for y'all, and there's already some episodes out for you. We've been getting comments already because there were a lot of people subscribed to our YouTube channel, even though we weren't using it for that much stuff.
We put stuff out there every now and then, but like a lot of things, when I see a new platform, I just go ahead and grab it, regardless if we use it or not, because eventually we probably may use it. But even if we don't, I still want us to have the right to it, so people won't be fooled by somebody else underneath falsely using our name.
But yeah, people are leaving us comments already. Absurd Spoonful, come on, intro graphic. Love being able to conveniently watch things here on YouTube. Thanks for this, YouTube. Leonard Brothers, glad y'all are starting to post the video versions of the show here. This gives people more ways to find and enjoy you. Mandingo 11434.
Oh shit, Mandingo!
I hope this is a regular thing to have every episode on YouTube. So yeah, all right, Mandingo, we'll work on that.
Yeah, we can't do them all. Basically, we're doing the ones from Crowdcast because those that have stuck around with us for a while know we've been through vocal, we've been through several different versions, and a lot of those sites are no longer here.
I'm trying to go find also the old ones that we had guests on that y'all might want to check out and edit, and then like the uploading and the editing is the stuff that takes a long time, but whatever, it's worth it. Y'all worth it. So far we have the latest 2 episodes, the one with Jordan Temple, our feedback episode. But then also, I just put out an episode from 2016 where we had Janelle James on. Yeah, so that's like a old school one. Back in the days before she was Ava to everybody and she was a meme everywhere. But we was just like, girl, we love you. We believe in you. We know you're gonna be something.
Yes, we was praising her like you're gonna be somebody.
Yeah. So yeah, I got one with Ray Salney and Alex English that I'm gonna put out next. So
come on, 2 more people, y'all gonna be somebody.
Yeah, Alex English writes for SNL. Ray Salney's written for Black Lady Sketch Show and all this other stuff. Like, we know people. You know what I'm saying?
We know some people.
Shout out to those people listening on YouTube. Send us a like, comment, all that good stuff.
So now we can officially do that statement. They say you can listen to a podcast anywhere you subscribe to podcasts, because for a lot of people, they go, I got a podcast, it's on YouTube. People like, you ain't got an RSS feed, it's just a YouTube channel.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting is just from research and shout out to Pod News, I think is the name of the newsletter we get.
That keeps us on top of a lot of shit.
But Pod News, I saw something a couple weeks ago, like YouTube was responsible for like some like 15% or some like large percentage of how people get their podcasts now. I recently started uploading the audio to YouTube for people. But then I found out last night, I'm glad I did this, right? I found out it wasn't putting it out, it was just uploading it. So then I had to turn it out to public so everybody could see it. So you could go listen to the show on YouTube, but it's not the same as
actually seeing us. Oh, yeah. I didn't realize when you put it up, it was like, you know what, you got to publish me.
Right. Yeah, that was weird. But at any rate, so yeah, hopefully people will dig that. All right, let's just get into the news of the day. I'm not gonna start with coronavirus news. Let's just get right to what everybody's talking about. These niggas fighting. Monique and DL Hughley. Who saw this coming?
Who knew? I didn't know.
How did you hear about it?
I just seen Monique's name trending. That and for me, I see a lot of things trending, and I just go, okay. like not sure, for a lot of times I might click and see, but I don't really go into depth. Sometimes I do. Most of the time I don't. I was like, and I know she was on stage, and that was about it.
Yeah, for me, I want to say I was just like on Facebook or Twitter or something, and saw like a small clip of like and people being like, Monique and DL Hughley fighting. She went on stage and said this, and then I went and saw the article and shared it on my page, and so many comments. Like, there's some people that sight unseen just have like Mo's back. There's some people that hate Monique, but they, so I feel like she's one of them people that people already know how they feel, regardless of the situation.
Regardless of what happened, their opinions are already made up, right?
Yeah, like people be trying to disguise it like they don't got a bias, but it's like, come on, man, it's like when we had no information, people was already picking sides. So I was like, oh shit. But Monique's always interesting to me because individually, I feel like you can make a case in almost all of her beefs where like, I can see how someone would take it like that. But then also, like, how there's people that they don't know how to resolve problems because they don't even see how inflammatory it is. And of course, of course, social media and fans online, we eat it up because it's content. We don't really care about you.
Yeah,
we just think
social media rewards you for that behavior.
Yeah, and Monique's a content generating person with her beef. So because it doesn't seem like she resolves a lot of stuff quietly. It seems like she escalates very publicly. And of course, fans like to, well, not every fan, but a lot of fans, the kind of people that are in her corner at this point like that. Like I was talking to someone, a fan of the show, and he was saying how like, well, we don't really like, because I said, a lot of people love and hate her because she's a loose cannon.
Agreed. Yes.
Like it's not even just a comedy thing at this point; it's a personality thing.
Yes.
And the moments that they cite about her aren't even on stage jokes anymore. It's a lot of like, remember when she zipped up Leonard when she went to the Breakfast Club? Like people love those moments, even like the thing back and forth with Steve Harvey on his show, like people love that moment. And many, many, many times it's like we see it as like a positive thing that she is out here saying this shit in front of everybody, even if it's a negative thing for her career or whatever. People look at like the kind of people that love her in a lot of cases because she's the one that does that kind of shit.
Yes.
Not that they love what she did or every instance, but they love that fact that you can't tame her. And she throws around the black woman thing. Anytime you disagree with her, you're a coon, you're this, you hate black women. And as far as she's concerned, she is black. Monique is black women. You know what I mean? So like even when she's saying something negative about black women, like the stuff about the airport and the bonnets and the flip-flops and all this shit, she was still saying, if you didn't agree with her, I'm a black woman and I love us, and this is all about helping black women. So you couldn't even be a black woman that said, fuck you, I'm wearing my bonnet and you can't tell me what to do, without being a coon or something, because she had already framed her side as the black side and everything else was the anti-black side.
Right.
So I see this Instagram post from her and actually from DL Hughley first, basically as a retort to the fact that she had accused him of something. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I got to go back in the time machine, and I find this 10-minute clip that was being shared everywhere of her going on stage and saying, calling him a bitch, the definition of a bitch nigga, saying he was gonna threatened to hold the show hostage and wouldn't come out, that he basically had stolen the headline gig from her, that she never liked him. DL stands for down low gay, which, you know, to insult him with the homophobia. His wife is sucking the dick of a bitch nigga, some shit like that. So she threw that in there. I'm laughing because it was fucked up, but it was funny. I'm not like, I mean, I'm glad she wasn't. I just like, Monique's so funny. If she heard this one day and she went on stage and said fuck Rod and Karen and did 10 minutes about how terrible we are, I would laugh.
Yes,
because I guarantee you it would be funny, but I would be like, oh, that's a shame. You know what I mean? But yeah, so she said a bunch of like, he's a bitch nigga. And back in the day when she went on his show, she thought they were cool, but at the end they played this game called Would You Rather, and it was like, would you rather her husband, who's her business manager, and obviously she calls daddy and all this type of stuff. There's been a lot of controversy about all that stuff, whatever, you know. They made a joke of like, would you rather your husband fuck like Superhead without a condom or such and such, some dude with a condom? And she took a lot of offense to that and was like, you know, basically like, you don't do that to a black woman. You da da da. I don't know if DL and them play that game all the time or whatever. I don't know
because I don't listen, right?
Yeah, and I'm not a huge DL fan in that way anyway. I think he's great on race stuff, but there's so many things about gender and sexuality and relationships that I just find him to be like wanting on, that I've just kind of like, when he defended Columbus Short after Columbus Short beat his wife and choked her and all this very violently, and he was just kind of downplaying it and thinking it was cool. I was just like, okay, it's just, he's not my guy.
Yeah, and everybody has a blind spot in various different areas, and this, in my opinion, happened to be one of his blind spots.
Yeah, so it was kind of, it was one of those things for me where I was like, okay, well, DL Hughley's not my type of dude, like he does a lot of that type of stuff where I really feel like he goes, he can be so fucked up about women shit. And he's also one of those like people that thinks if you're on stage, you can say anything and that's fine, defending Dave Chappelle, stuff like that, which is his prerogative. I didn't really see him taking offense to her jokes. Like his point wasn't like, you shouldn't have said that because it hurt my feelings. It was like, it wasn't accurate. And also, bam. So anyway, she lays out this case that he basically stole the headline from her somehow, and she was gonna not even perform, but she changed her mind. Mr. Span was at the show. I listened to his podcast last night about it.
Okay, I haven't listened yet.
Yeah, I was listening live on YouTube while I was uploading some stuff, and he was at the show. And he says when he bought his ticket, she was the headliner, but since then they had changed it to, I guess, DL was the headliner or something. But also, like, looking at the contracts, because they ended up posting their physical, like the agreements they had, because I'm not even gonna say contract, because people trying to get really caught up on the technicalities of it and missing the forest for the trees, in my opinion.
Right.
the deals that they had in place, they posted whatever was available to them. And his shit was like signed a day after hers. So it's, to me, looking at what happened, it looked like the promoter, the venue, got a contract from Monique and her husband Sydney written on their company letterhead stating, we only see the first page with initials. We don't see every page. We don't see the signatures at the end. I'm not saying they don't exist, but the way people are being very technical about DL's paperwork, I'm like, it's clear when you don't want to apply scrutiny, because if DL would have posted one page, all of a sudden he need to show us 12 other pages and go find this person in that, whatever. So I said, okay, it sounded like to me, y'all had y'all's contract drawn up, and hopefully everybody signed it and whatever. But if your contract was, I'm the headliner, I'm the highest paid, I'm this, I'm that, it wasn't honored.
Right. So you need to talk to the people that was supposed to honor your contract.
Right. And it was the day before DL, which means the promoter and the venue would have known at that time if that was the agreement.
And you should have been informed, so
and
that
literally,
you could have made a decision.
Yeah, a day later they signed DL Hughley and say he the headliner and he's this, that, and the other. And the thing was, DL presented a deal memo which stated everything that he got. And the deal memo, and that's what was funny, is people were trying to be like, and Monique said this as well, like, it's not a contract, it's a deal memo. I'm like, the only problem with that is he's not repping himself like she is with her company with Sydney. So he may or may not even have a copy of that contract. Like, he might not even be the person who signs that kind of contract. Like, he might have delegated that shit out. More than likely he gets that deal memo, and that's what he's like, these niggas better honor, or else somebody getting cussed out on my team.
Right.
Period. Like this. And then you look at the deal memo and it says literally on there, like, he's the headliner, he's gonna get paid the most. Like, it's like everything that he said, everything that happened on that show is what he got. And so to me, it just seems like something happened with the promoter telling two different stories, and no one's heard anything from the promoters yet. I haven't seen anyone behind the scenes come out and be like, it was our bad, or we lied, or one of them is lying, because they could easily say that too, with one of them's telling the lie, and here's the contract to prove it and all that stuff. But it didn't seem like that was the case. Like, at least as far as, like, it didn't seem like someone came out and said it, but it does seem like that must have been what happened. And her spending 10 minutes basically going in on DL Hughley, to me, seems misplaced, and I thought people were playing a lot of gotcha games and shit, because they don't like, these are two people that people feel strongly about.
Either way, there's people that love both of them and there's people that hate both of them, and this was the feud to start the fire for both camps.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where people were doing a lot of this, like, depending on who they wanted to quote unquote win this fight of, especially black man versus black woman, blah blah blah. It depending on who they wanted to win was basically how they decided what evidence matters. You know what I mean?
We really don't know, because ain't none of this been in nobody's court of law. Ain't nobody combed through this, nothing. Everybody just, and it's understandable, because you put it on the public platform, so people are going to give their public opinions.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of people, kind of like even this whole idea, like, one of the things I kept seeing floated was like, she could come on stage, say whatever she wanted to say. DL Hughley is now at fault for any response he had.
Right. And what's fucked up about that, there's a lot of people out there that truly believe that, but they would not deal with that in their own lives. That's right. Like this is the problem that I have. Them people right there make me angry. Right. Because if anybody call you a bitch ass nigga and call you out your name and say all this shit about you, you supposed to just smile and grin and take it and be like, okay. Right. Half of y'all would shake the table if somebody breathed at you wrong, no matter open up their mouths and say something wrong to you like that in a public setting, and you're supposed to say nothing.
And it, to me, it's like, and I think DL cut through the bullshit with it. No matter where you fall on this, he's like, you either need to take it up with your management team or the venue.
Right. Has nothing to do with me.
I'm gonna get everything in my contract. Everything that it say I'm owed, everything in my deal memo, I'm gonna get it. So while you're saying, nah, your contract is the one that's bullshit. Well, my contract's the one they honored. So everything you're saying seem like either your people need to go in there, sue somebody, something.
Yes.
Or
take that shit to trial, bitch. Take that shit to trial.
Or you need to take it up with your people and be like, why the fuck are y'all telling me stuff that's not going to happen?
Right.
But I can't be the bad guy in this situation. You know, I think obviously people can't separate her from her litany of fights she's had with people, very public spats and stuff. So it, you know, people are asking for objectivity on each situation, and that's almost impossible at this point. You know, and DL Hughley hasn't seemed to have that many public spats. And of course, he was able to kind of weaponize that against her to be like, okay, you saying it's me. It was Steve Harvey. It was Oprah. It was Lee Daniels. It was Netflix. It's never you. It's always everyone else. And for enough people, that's, you know, causal enough for them to be like, yeah, fuck her, regardless of what she's saying. I don't know. She may have a case. She probably gonna have to sue the venue. If she sued DL Hughley, that'll be interesting too, because I'm like, you really gonna have to find a way to make like there has to be something missing in this equation for it to be 100% on him somehow. But you know, it's also that thing too where you can tell people that ain't never been publicly tarred and feathered by somebody, and
come on,
and it really be that they're not telling the truth about you,
right? Because
a lot of people just had this assumption of like, you know, she said it, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm willing to withhold. I'm willing to wait for some proof on both sides.
I'm you know, it's one of them things where you're like, okay, let's really see what happened. And as people that have been on the receiving ends of this publicly, there's things that happen, you know, and put like this, you can tell that people who have never been on the other side, where people have publicly just lied on them on public platforms, just went around and just did this. And anytime they say anything trying to prove their case, you're wrong. There's nothing you can say that's right. You know, decisions have already been made by the public. And, you know, it's one of those things where it can be very frustrating. And the truth be told, nobody really knows what's going on. Everybody's just going based off of what's being put on the internet. But when you take that shit to trial, guess what the court gonna do? Comb through it and figure it out. They're going to be like, these are the things that happen. These are the events that happen to lead up to this. They're going to question people. Like, they're going to go through the whole shebang versus everybody just coming out with all these public opinions, which actually does not mean anything in the court of law.
Yeah, it was like, it's a lot of conjecture, right? Because we don't know everything that happened. So, you know, DL Hughley was citing like the ticket stub order. Like, look at the order on the ticket stub. I'm last. That means I go last. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, that could mean anything. It's all kinds of shows where the person going last don't go last. And I'm like, that shit is accurate most of the time. Like, I'm not saying it's never changed, but it's not crazy to expect the ticket order to be the order that you see shit in. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of all the, because we used to go to comedy shows a lot. And I'm trying to think if I've ever been to a show where the person I bought the ticket to close didn't close. And I honestly can't think of a time. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen Chappelle before he was Chappelle. We've seen Dave Attell, we've seen Roy Wood Jr., we've seen a lot Mike Lawrence, like all these people. I don't think I've ever been to a show where it's just like last minute, just like, oh no, I'm actually gonna go second to last. Like, it's that is normally what it says. That being said, ticket stubs do change. If you get it printed in March, it might not be the same stub in July, you know, so that could be a thing too. But that, you know, so that's a big deal. Her contract versus his deal memo, everyone's trying to get technical on that, but the only problem with that to me is his was honored, which means the venue and his management had an agreement, and that's the one they honored, not Monique's. So whether the venue fucked up somehow and he just didn't back down from it, I don't like that. Could be she could have said, hey, I know what your memo says or whatever, but I want to be the headliner. He could have said, that's not the deal I negotiated, and I'm going to have my deal honored. And she could have been like, well, now I'm gonna go on stage and talk shit about your ass. But yeah, he and the thing, you know, people were saying it's anti-black for him to shit on the fact that her company was the one that it was the contract picture that she showed, like, because he was like, that's your company, I smell bullshit. Like, and of course people were like, that's anti-black, so because it's a black company but his company is a white company. I'm like, I mean, you could try to turn it into that, but also, you know, if I definitely think it's not just like, if she would have been a white person and submitted her own letterhead company, he probably would have had the same response of, I'm not gonna treat this like it's official. Y'all wrote that shit on Microsoft Word and could have said whatever the fuck you wanted it to say. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean y'all really did negotiate that. But
right. And also something that me and you talked about and I brought up, and I really do mean this. Monique lives what the internet says they want. Monique lives exactly what Twitter says, how Twitter says you should live. She lives that shit. And when that shit happens in real life, it ain't pretty. It don't always look good. It falls out with everybody. It don't get along with nobody. It contradicts itself. And in my heart of hearts, it's like, this is what the internet says it wants, but it really doesn't want that. And the reason why I said it is because if you look on the internet, particularly certain people that function through the internet, that constantly have confrontations on the internet, they have certain characteristics. I've been on Twitter 13 years, 12, 13, 14 years, something right like that. Right. So I've been on the internet long enough to know how this cycle goes. This is what happens. You do something, then people respond. It's never your fault. Always somebody else's fault. Always somebody else's fault. Anytime you are called out for anything, you pivot. You have a chart that you look at. Black, gays, LGBTQ women, you have a chart that you look at. And anything on that chart that fits you and you check all the boxes, that is your shield, and nobody can talk against you. And all of a sudden you are right and everybody else is wrong. You don't apologize for shit. You never say I'm sorry. You never say my bad. You never and then don't let the person be smaller than you. You won't even acknowledge they exist. You will talk over their head like they don't matter to you. And if they're bigger than you, all of a sudden everything they do, you are the victim. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter your actions. It doesn't matter. The consequences be damned. You know how your viewed even be damned, because you know that you let enough time goes along, people will forgive you because the internet has such a short-term memory. And so nobody cares once they get to a certain point. It's like a control-alt-delete. The internet resets itself. People forget about it in a few days. You can live your life, and then another event happens. Like, I've been on the internet long enough that I've seen people go through this shit for years. Every 2 to 3 months, it's the same fucking people that their names are trending on the internet. And so it's one of those things where she is like, oh, I am the real life internet. And guess what? Motherfuckers that respond like this, when she does it, all of a sudden, everybody hemming and hawing. Don't look right. Shut the fuck up. Why you talking? You making a scene. You're unprofessional. But this is the shit that y'all say that y'all won't. Y'all, a lot of people on the internet are very unforgiving. They don't have no heart. Anything that's positive is considered a flaw. You know, any compassion, any love, any understanding, any nuance, something's wrong with you. How dare you tell people your truth? Right. But she can tell her truth though. And you stand by that as long as it's something that you believe in, but you let it be something that all of a sudden you can't get behind, and the same person you praise, you turn around and you're calling her all types of names and shit like that.
One of the things with this is I really don't want to have, I don't want to put too fine of a point on supporting either one of them, because I feel like both of these are people that within 48 hours could say some wild shit that you'd be like, yep, glad I didn't tell everybody they was such a great person and shit, because they are wild cards, you know what I'm saying? Both of them, in my opinion. I'm with you on that. Like, a lot of this stuff is what group you represent, and like one thing I find with all these people, period, DL Hughley as well, and I think it's just a natural thing inside of me that I have, that my eyebrow perks up whenever this happens. Anybody that pulls the like black this or LGBTQ this or this for a personal issue. So like when they're having a problem, it becomes a problem for all black people or all women or all gay people. I've learned over the years, because of the internet, to pull back and go, let me actually look at this whole situation.
Right.
Because a lot of times that shit is shorthand for don't even check nothing.
Yes, don't check, don't verify, don't look, don't comb.
Because what I'm setting you up for is disagreeing with me, is disagreeing with the group. Correct. And so I that shit is to me, I'm wary of that shit. I'm tired of that shit.
Yes.
Because I think about when I have my own interpersonal issues with people, I don't pull that. You know what I mean? Like if I have an issue with you and you do something and it's personal to me, like I don't then pull out and go, and this means you hate black men. I'm like, no, it could be that. I'm not saying it's never that, but my first inclination is never just, you disagree with me, therefore you hate blank. Because it's just not. It's not always true, and a lot of times with individual micro stuff, it's not always macro like that. And this is the umpteenth time Mo has done that. This is about black women, it's not about me. And it's like, I don't know, there's other black women living in this industry, getting along fine, making it happen, not having to fight publicly with people every few months. Like, you know, that, come on now.
And also was very frustrating because of racism and because of things that have been placed upon us. People don't want those stereotypes. So anytime the stereotypes come up, people panic. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Two things can be true at the same time. You could be angry, you could be black, and guess what? You can also be wrong. And so a lot of people don't want to put that hand in hand. Every black woman and everything that come out of her mouth, she ain't always right. Sometimes she's motherfucking wrong.
It works. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
but people panic when
it's a way. Say that. It's a way to keep people from critical thinking,
right,
and being critical of you. I'm in this group, right? We get it, and then everybody goes, "Oh yeah." It's like, but you know, matter of fact, let me bring up some bad examples, right? Because there's black women probably listening to this right now, like that may go, but she says she's a black woman. This is how misogynoir. That's what's happening. And let me just point out. As a black straight dude, I've seen this used by people to protect people that were wrong, whether it be R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, and it doesn't even have to be criminal, just dudes that have fucked up opinions all the time. Hey man, why you coming down on a black man for that? And it's like, cause he wrong. You know what I mean? When DL Hughley was talking about the Columbus short hitting his wife and being very dismissive and downplaying it. I remember when we did the podcast at the time, people being like, how you gotta say that about a black man? Because he's wrong. And I think that's the part that a lot of people don't want to give up this person in my group is wrong. But I think because of my own journey in life, I've given that up. I don't give a fuck. You being a straight black dude does not entitle you to any level of I get to go abuse people and no one can say shit, or I get to be wrong and then loving me is letting me be wrong and not saying I was wrong. I'm not saying you can't love people. I'm not saying you can't support people, but the idea that you have to support them through being wrong, to me, is the wild part. And once again, I'm not even saying she's wrong in the venue lied or they did not her contract. I think she's probably going to end up being right about that. We'll see later. Obviously, you never know.
Correct.
I just think she was wrong for the shit she said on stage, because DL Hughley didn't do all that shit, and then all that homophobic shit and all this stuff, and which makes some strange bedfellows, because you see a lot of people that claim not to have zero. My favorite was this: people that hate Dave Chappelle and his transphobia, homophobia, blah blah blah. Right? They hate him. and they don't like that DL Hughley thinks it's okay to go on stage and do that stuff. But in this case, it was not that big a deal because Monique was saying it about DL Hughley, which says a lot about you. It's like, for those type of people, you kind of got to be Batman, right? Batman can't never use a gun. He can't just shoot nobody, because the second he shoots somebody, that's his one rule, and you're just like the rest of these criminals. And so it was like Monique shot somebody and it was like, well, that's fine. Okay, listen, I don't like that nigga. It's like, okay, cool. That's a very human impulse, but it doesn't make you right. You're just okay with her being wrong in this case. And then you still want to go back and try to like have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
But I really, to me, it just seemed like two motherfuckers that really should have never worked together because they didn't trust each other. I mean, you could tell they didn't trust each other because DL had these receipts on the ready. And he even said in his first post about this, like, they told me not to work with you. I thought, bygones be bygones. We could work together. But I don't know why he thought that, because Monique ain't no let shit go person. Like, she seemed to be on, I mean, unless you literally come back groveling and do something for her, like, she ain't about to just let some shit go. Like, oh, it's been long enough. So I guess he against his better judgment, and I do suffer from this sometimes as well. I had to get rid of this out of my life, but you do that. Well, I mean, listen, it's bygones be bygones. It's better to get along. And it's like, no, sometimes you just got to be like, that motherfucker don't fuck with me. And honestly, so for his perspective, he shouldn't have done it. Worked with her. Like, as soon as he seen she was on there, he should have been like, nah, it's not going to work. And then vice versa for her. Like, she should have been on some, like, I'm not working with him. And the reason I say that is because the second something went wrong, it became about him for 10 minutes. Only him. All about him. That's bad. That means you don't trust that person and you shouldn't even be working with them. I know people like that right now in my life, that if something come up and we got to be together, I'm Xing it out. Like, no, I don't fuck with them and they don't fuck with me. And if something go wrong, I am going to think it's them. Like, that's how fucked up they are. So then why would I work with that person? Why would I put myself in that situation? What's best case scenario? Best case scenario is things go off without a hitch. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's not like best case scenario is we become best friends. Best case scenario is, no, I don't like this nigga, but it didn't nothing go wrong this time. You know what I mean? I'm good on that.
It's not worth it. And also something else that I've realized about people too, a lot of people defend actions that they wouldn't do themselves. And I think this really ticks me off, because a lot of people defend behaviors that they would not put in their real lives.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, would you go into a meeting with your boss and call your boss a bitch ass nigga to his face and call him a DL and all that shit? Would you do that?
And technically this isn't her boss, but
I mean not her boss, but
coworker
or somebody like would you do this? Like, no. Well, then why are you defending this action? And that's the thing. You're defending something that you would not do in your own everyday life. That's something I do not understand.
Also, like, you ain't gonna find too many people that think DL Hughley's a coon. Like, you might find people that got problems with him in a whole bunch of different areas. Being a coon ain't the one. Like, it's, like, it was just literally shit to say to hurt that man's feelings.
Of course.
It didn't seem like his feelings were hurt.
And to get a response out of him.
Yeah, right. It didn't seem like his feelings were hurt. And also, like, this is another thing that I recognize and that I just refuse to even engage in. But any of these people that demand, quote unquote, proof of something always say it's not good enough.
Right, because you don't mean it.
When he showed the deal memo, that wasn't good enough all of a sudden. First it was, there's no reason that he should be the headliner. He shares, here's the ticket stub, here's the listing, the same listing she shared that shows him going last and for the longest, and it was still not good enough. It was like, okay, then it was like, well, if you got one, show the contract. He shows his deal memo, which other people in the industry have been like, yes, that's essentially a contract. I have the Marisha Wallace on Twitter. UTA is my agent, and that is definitely a real contract. Y'all, we need to settle this behind closed doors because, phew, Lord, which a lot of people was trying to say. But yeah, so like, you got people differing over that shit. But that, once again, it wouldn't have been good enough. And then even after that, in one of her responses, she was like, if he does have a contract and the venue does produce it, that doesn't mean anything, but they gonna get sued or something. Like, it's never gonna be good enough because you don't fuck with him.
Right.
So it's nothing he can do. Only a time machine where he goes back to March 29th or whatever and says, I'm not doing this show, is the only fucking way. Even then, it'd probably be like, fuck that bitch nigga, he won't even do a show with me. So it's gonna be a problem because when you don't like somebody, an olive branch looks like a motherfucking stick. I've dealt with that shit before in my past. I'm never gonna deal with that shit again. Like, somebody cross me now, they don't fuck with me, and I can't figure out why the fuck is such. I let it go, let go with God. Like, hope you work that out on your end,
right?
Because all the shit I do is gonna look bad to you. I still remember this time that this person, when we had the Facebook group, this person got mad about the way I handled a dispute in the Facebook group. It was basically grown-ups fucking arguing, and I had to be like, hey, time out, everybody go to their corner. It was like, no, kick this person out, kick that person out. And I said, yo, both of y'all want each other kicked out. Who am I supposed to listen to? And they're like, oh, no, fuck you, Rob. Okay, so now it's fuck me. Cool. I never liked you, blah, blah, blah. All right, awesome. Go be great, So someone posted in the group a while later, like, I don't know, maybe, I forget how much longer, but they post like, hey, this person, I don't see them in the group anymore, but it's their birthday, and they're dedicating their birthday, they're raising money for this cause for Black Girls Rock. And, it'd be dope if we could raise money. And of course, some people was in the group like, man, fuck her, she left the group. We wanted her kicked out anyway, blah, blah, blah. And, to me, I'm like, I don't know. We was always cool before then. It's not even about me or her. It's a cause for Black Girls Rock, something I support.
Me too.
Maybe it could be even seen as an olive branch of like, hey, you want this thing for your B-Day. I support the Black Girls Rock. You do too. Just so you know, like, it's no hard feelings. Like, you and because like I said, I didn't kick her out the group. I believe she just left. Right. So it's like, no hard feelings, and it doesn't matter if you're the group or not. Is you cool with me? I do this. I don't know how much time passes, but I immediately get you were like, I was doing this to be passive aggressive. I was trying somehow to like,
because that's what they do.
Like, this is some type of attack on her.
Yes.
To give money to a charity for Black girls.
Right.
I was now the enemy in this case. And there was no way that could be presented in her mind where it wasn't like me being a bad guy or some type of mean ass nigga. And so I'm like, oh, you know what? At first I was like, man, fuck, that's what? Like, I should explain. And I just stopped myself and said, you know what? That person is hurt on some way that I don't understand.
Correct.
There's never going to be a thing I can do to convince them I'm not a piece of shit. So I have to let that person go and just go hate me. Go hate me for the rest of your life. It really don't matter because I have so much solid. I'm so solid in who I am. I love me. So I don't need you to love me too. You know what I mean? I forgive me. I don't need you to forgive me because I understand you're just going to hold this over my head, even though it's unfair, not, in my opinion, not at all what happened. And I think that's kind of the thing with this Mo DL thing that I think people can take a lesson from. If you're ever in that DL situation, hey man, don't even try. Like, you just got to sit back and let that person work that shit out. If they are ever, over it, they'll let you know. Yeah, and if you're in the Mo situation, why would you work with somebody that you really can't even imagine not being a piece of shit? If anything goes wrong, you can't even imagine a world where that person just they didn't know about it either. So I think that's really that's the lesson I took from it.
Yeah, and also is one of the things to where these things could have been handled very differently, and it's one of the things because everybody got these opinions, so here's mine. We should have never known about this, in my opinion. Right. This is something that the general public never should have known. Either don't perform or either perform and take that shit to trial, bitch. Y'all talk about it behind the scenes, because people do contracts all the time. And things don't go right all of the time. I'm pretty sure there are other people that have found other ways to handle this.
Yeah.
But when you're working with somebody like Monique, and it's one of the things too, but this was supposed to be her redemption type of thing, because she just met up with Lee Daniel and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I know he's sweating.
And so it's also one of those things too, where if I was a company or had a company or thought about putting her on something, I am actually reconsidering now, reconsidering really hard, because the second something does not go her way, anything we discussed and or talked about is open to the internet. There's also that these things behind the house.
There's also that time that, because you know how you said handle something in private. There's also that time that Tyler Perry called her and privately apologized, and she published the phone call. Like, people keep, I don't know. Like I said, I think there's a lot of people that just really, this is part of the reason they like her, so they can't separate it.
Right.
Like, they can't be like, oh yeah, she was kind of wrong for that. It's gonna always be she was 100% right, which means everyone has to be wrong, because she doesn't leave room for you to be like, well, Mo kind of was fucked up, DL was kind of fucked up, I hope they can work it out. She don't leave room for that. It's either team Mo or team the other, or you anti-black, you hate black women, blah blah blah. And it works. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the fact that the fact that it was presented as DL Hughley a bitch nigga, because I see, Miss Smart even says like they should have both turned on the promoter. Yeah, that was the time for that was before the show, or y'all go do the show and then y'all get together. You turned on me first. And that was the part, like the humanity of her going on stage for 10 minutes and ranting is completely respected by some people. The humanity of him going, hey man, you call me a bitch nigga, said my wife sucks the dick of a weak nigga. You said I was on a DL. I'm supposed to just take that and go, you know what, sister?
Right.
I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you. Let's just go talk to the promoter and figure out what happened. Like, once you punch somebody, it's a fight now. You can't just be like, I can't believe he's fighting me back. And so it was just like, and that's the benefit of what you kept so brilliantly pointing out. How you handle the shit is just as important as what happened. Because you can take something where y'all really should have been on the same side, throw a punch at me, and now we fighting and we not on the same side because of how you approached it in the first place, very publicly and very slanderously. But that's just my 2 cents. Hopefully more comes out, because the way these niggas are sharing shit, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, more information to come out and things like that. Yeah. And it's going to be the talk of the town for a while. And regardless of what kind of calamity or collision that happens online, at the end of the day, there's always a proper way to handle things. There's always a way to de-escalate things. But the internet is not the place for de-escalation. Internet is the place for put your foot on the gas, bitch, and let's go. And the internet says make the train crash. The internet is, I want to see the car crash. Let's go 100 miles an hour. Because you know what the internet does not have to do? Live with the consequences of the real life repercussions of the actions that you did. The internet does not have to do that. What the internet is going to do is ride past you, have jokes, have memes, poke fun, and tell you how you was a motherfucking fool to be driving 100 miles an hour without a goddamn seatbelt.
Yeah. Some people was even saying I haven't seen it. This is just what they were saying in my mentions, because I had to mute that shit. They was going in. But some people was even saying like there's video of the rehearsal that shows that everyone understood the order and shit. So I don't know, man. It just seemed like this shit is always following her. And if you're just team her, then it don't matter. But
and if you team him, it don't matter the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know people that's huge DL fans, and but this is just one of those ones where I gotta call balls and strikes, call them like I see them, man. I don't see how this one's on him directly. It really does seem like it has to be on her people or the venue.
And also it's one of those things where once you've gone down this cycle, you just see the lines. Anytime it's black men versus black women, people automatically pick their sides. A lot of times people don't even want to hear anything beyond there. I pick my side and they work backwards from there.
And also like industry folks, work with them. So these are co-workers, and kind of is like
correct.
Because I saw like it was funny to see like the other comedians and people in that industry and how they was only in the comments. And you like, oh, okay, Tony Baker kind of seemed like he team Monique, and then Kenya Barris is team DL. It's like, that's right, these are industry people, but Black Hollywood is still small. So like people was being reckless in the comments. So it was wild. But yeah, I don't know. Like the main thing to me is like watching people be so dismissive of the homophobia is my favorite part, because it's like
now any other time that would not be acceptable.
A week ago y'all was telling me I gotta hate Kendrick Lamar, but now
because it come out of a Black woman's mouth. if it's derogatory, it's derogatory at all times. That's what y'all told me when it came to Kendrick, and he was trying to be like, well, I grown you. They was like, nah, fuck you, nigga. We don't care. You use the word, right?
This is a person that used it only in the bad way.
Right.
Like
there was no good intentions behind it, and motherfuckers let that shit slide.
In 2022.
Yeah, it's one of them things where I be like, I don't be wanting to hear y'all niggas.
It's so funny, man. This whole thing is so funny. It's beautiful. All right, let's see what else we got to talk about. Governor Greg Abbott got booed while visiting the Uvalde school shooting memorial.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, Randolph Terrence brought up such a great point when we were on this podcast, though. 3 Guys On. Man, when you look at these towns, they be voting for Greg Abbott and them, which is crazy because it's a brown town. But you know, I mean, that's the thing people say about a lot of Latinx voters, and every fucking year we gotta have these weird ass discussions. Well, every presidential election, because let's be honest, these niggas don't care any other time. But every time we get into the discussion, like Latinx people feel jealous of Black people for having our issues put in a certain way, and then at the same time they want, you know, like we should get the same treatment from the Democratic Party, which I understand. But then when you see these returns and you're like, yo, y'all don't really vote Democratic in a lot of ways, like where it matters. Like, I'm not saying any of these people deserve to have their children killed, but it is odd to look at a town that went for Abbott and then he comes to this school shooting thing and they boo him.
Right.
And it does make sense. I mean, because it's not like everyone voted for him, but like this is a foreseeable consequence of people like him holding office in your state. Like they do as much as they can to make guns as readily available, and they've had mass shootings in the past not that long ago. That Walmart shooting was one of the bigger ones. Once again, another brown place being shot by a white supremacist person in that case, but not that this person was a white supremacist, but the last one, it was and they still voted like Abbott. You know, it's just, I don't know what you do because it feels like a sickness that is coming from inside the house. That being said, I mean, I guess it's good that he got booed and shit, but it's like, what is gonna happen when the ballot pull? When it's time to go to the ballot, will you boo then, or is it? And if that's what it takes for this town to go Democrat, that means all these other towns that did vote for Abbott that didn't have no school shooting and they're gonna just keep voting for Abbott. So I don't see any change happening in the future.
Of course. And you know, people criticize Obama, but when Obama said don't boo vote, that shit matters. Your boos mean nothing to me, bitch. Get out there, and that boo does not make them poll numbers move.
Right. So it's just sad. You know, I'm glad that he got booed in person and all that stuff, because I mean, the Republicans, they govern for half their, you know, just their voters, and the rest of us are fodder, you know.
Yeah, we're collateral damage of them making these decisions.
Also, the school police, the Robb Elementary School that got shot up, the police, they have like a special division just for the police of the school, for the school. They got caught lying again every day. New lie. This one was, they said a teacher had the door propped open and that's how the gunman got in. Turns out the door was closed. But when you close the door, apparently it doesn't lock for some reason. And that's how he got in. But yeah, investigators confirmed the detail through additional video footage review since last Friday.
You want to blame somebody else. Why are you trying to blame a teacher?
Almost everything those cops said has been proven to be false in the first initial press conference. Oh, we went in right away. Did we exchange fire? You like so much shit is just turning out to be like, nah, they sat there, they were outside for like an hour or some shit. Like it's all of it just looks bad, and it was all painted to make them look like heroes. Now that this investigation is happening, the Uvalde police said the school district police are no longer cooperating with the investigation.
Of course not.
So isn't that funny? Cops always give you the blueprint for the record. The cops give you the blueprint.
Say shit.
Don't say shit.
Be like, let me.
Don't cooperate. Make everything through your lawyer. Don't help them in any way. Meanwhile,
make them do their jobs.
When you get put into some situation where the cops pull you over, you supposed to just cooperate, just answer all the questions. You'll be fine. Everything. They just want the truth. They don't seem to be what they think when it's their turn.
Right.
They be like, shut it down. I don't got shit to say. My name is Puddin' Tang. Ask me again. I'll tell you the same. Like, like what the fuck is happening, man?
Right.
And making the police, making the teachers look bad. Like, why?
Because they don't give a fuck.
All right. Have you heard about Swedengate?
No, what's that?
So Swedengate is something that was trending on like Twitter and TikTok, and it basically turned into a lot of internet users being shocked to learn about the Swedish tradition of not serving food to guests in some situations.
Okay.
So it began on Reddit. Where someone asked a question, what's the weirdest thing you had to do at someone else's house because of their culture / religion? One Reddit user's response gained particular attention from the internet. I remember going to my Swedish friend's house, and while we were playing in his room, his mom yelled that dinner was ready, and check this, he told me to wait in his room while they ate. From there, the Reddit post spread like wildfire across social media with the hashtag Swedengate trending on Twitter. Before long, thousands of users were sharing their own experiences of not being served food in a Swedish household. Many Swedes defended the practice, while non-Swedes began criticizing the country for its dining practices. What's interesting about this is Sweden is one of those places that's always presented as a socialist utopia, and the homogeny of mostly white people always gets skirted under the table.
Don't it though?
And it's always seen as like a thing that America can do, as if slavery didn't happen here. It's always like it's like America could do this if everyone was white,
but we ain't.
But we not. So, what happened though? Is the culture part of it came up, and then people start looking into Sweden in general, and they just got uglier and uglier. And of course, some people were explaining it, or
people ain't gonna want to hear that.
Yeah, and it's Twitter, so it's a negative space. It's not like people gonna go, oh yeah, I can see how that works. It's like they thought they was helping. Like, Swedes cook for people they expect, family, precise portions. We don't mind guests. Just tell us in advance and we'll add one more. And in Sweden, it's understood you don't eat at a friend's house unannounced. No big deal. Here, yeah, you're going to get fried. And a lot of people were like, I had this happen to me and stuff like that. And so then people got mad because they're like, children should always eat no matter what happened, especially if they haven't eaten all day. And so then you had people upset about that. And people started turning into racial stuff, like guess who's not the guest and who's not family in these cases. The black and brown people that come over to the crib. And then people start talking about other cultures where we do share a lot of food, Indonesia people. It's like we cook a whole extra food every day in case friends and family come over and stuff like that, I can't speak for other cultures. I just know black culture, and
food is a form of love.
We just politely put it in the oven and don't tell
if we don't want you to have it.
Yeah, we just don't tell. We just turn the lights out.
Nobody be eating.
We just turn the lights out and don't answer the door and hope you go away. That's how we do.
You don't even get into the house. That solves that problem.
Because if you get invited over as a play date and we cooking, then we have to give you some. But if you just show up unannounced, it's like cut the lights off.
I did that to my aunt one time. I went on back to sleep and told my mama, your sister came by and I did not let her in. My mama said you didn't. I said no, and I don't know what the hell she wanted, and I wasn't going to entertain her ass.
You did not say it like that. because you still alive right now. So you did say it like that.
But I did.
I know what the hell she want. I ain't gonna entertain her ass, ma'am.
I told her I didn't know what she wanted.
Just like when you say you loved Arby's. Because
the thing is, I was sick, and that was the thing. I was sick, and she came by.
So then people brought up that Sweden participated in the slave trade by making the bracelets that went on slaves, the chains that slaves had. They made them there, and that was one of the exports and how they profited off of slavery. So then that really just hit it. Like then it became extra like sweet and so this gonna sound fucked up, but this is so funny to me. So funny. This person had a thread and it started with, finally, justice has come for Sweden. Hashtag Swedengate. And it was this long thread about everything wrong with the country, right? And it tickled me so hard because I was like, yo, if justice for participating in the slave trade is 400 years later, a nigga make a Twitter thread about you, it's kind of worth it, right? Like it's like there's no incentive if that's all justice gonna be.
No incentive.
Oh, like you know, whoever the Swedish slaver was at the back in the day, or the Swedish chef of them chains,
Swedish chain maker.
Yeah, like when he was
getting paid to make them chains.
When he was making them cuffs, like if you would have said, oh, you making them cuffs, oh, see that, yeah, you just as guilty. You know, one day, long after you're rich and dead, and your family
dead and gone,
and your family,
generational wealth is passed down,
and your great grandkids, one day they gonna look on Twitter and they gonna see Swedengate trended for 4 hours on a Sunday night,
and it's your fault,
and you gotta live with that. Now, how you gonna sleep tonight? Like a baby.
Come on, like a baby. They don't care. What is a Twitter?
This is so funny because it was like, damn, man, like social media really got people believing like it's some form of justice. Like you can't get justice in 160 characters. That's not how that works.
They do. Because if they realize the limitation of its power, more shit would happen.
Yeah, like it's just so funny to me to hear that, like the justice that came for them. I was like, the justice? What? Give me some reparations or something. Not no justice. This ain't no justice. They downvoted you on Reddit. Now what?
They gave you a bad review, bitch. What?
I'm gonna go in IKEA, throw they meatball, eat the meatballs for free and leave.
I've never even had meatballs from there.
You know what you did?
I've never even been in IKEA.
Pay what you owe. And I'm gonna be wiping my mouth off with a little napkin. Pay what you owe, motherfuckers.
In fact, give me extra meatballs.
Black people should eat for free. And no, I'm not putting together that little
set that I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't want to put together that nightstand, bitch. Y'all own my people. A man disguised as an elderly woman who's believed to be a climate activist smeared cake all over the famous Leonardo da Vinci drawn portrait, the Mona Lisa.
White. They ain't had nothing else with their time. Nothing else was going on in their life that was that important.
This is so.
I mean, I would like to go to the museum one day, and they're gonna be like, no, because he's gonna go in here and smear cake on it and shit.
Yeah, what?
You had nothing else to do.
Is this real? This life? And also what cause does this promote? Really?
No cause.
You know?
I mean, ain't nobody gonna pay the cause no attention. You just gonna look crazy.
So he put on a wig, then he got in a wheelchair and pretended to be an old woman.
What?
Yeah.
Tying up their wheelchairs for a real old woman that probably would have needed to get around the venue.
And then I guess he got close enough to do this. What's interesting is they're just still politely escorting him out.
They're not handcuffing him or nothing.
That's the cake on the Mona Lisa. No way. Oh, someone trying to wipe it off with a napkin. Oh no. Just like, man, this is such a, none of y'all might not get this reference. And if you did, you're now my best friend. Okay. But this is like when Stan Smith, American Dad, tried to fix that mural.
Yes, he was painting. Because he screwed Haley over, he screwed his baby daughter over. And every time he wiped, they kept fucking it up. And then he hand drawn, and people's like, the fuck is this badass drawing? Y'all know nothing about restoring paint, nothing. You just smearing shit.
He was like, that's okay, just a little bit.
Just a little bit more. Just
gotta get a little. All right, gotta get a little bit better. Gotta get a little bit worse before it gets better. No problem.
What the hell wrong with you?
There's like two people that know that story, but oh my god,
that thing is like hundreds, possibly what, hundreds of years old, and you think you're gonna take your 3-ply toilet tissue and wipe across it? What the hell is wrong with you?
Oh man. You can't even take a picture of it with a phone. They won't let you because they think the flash could damage the photo. This motherfucker took like a fucking Dairy Queen napkin. Was like, I just a little dab and do it. Somebody hand me that pledge. So everybody got some Windex?
If anything, I would sue him.
Does it not have glass over it?
It should.
Yeah,
I don't see why it wouldn't.
Oh man,
or something to protect it from people touching it.
I wonder. Let's see. Okay, another video shows someone clearing the cake. Okay, so there is glass protecting the Mona Lisa. As onlookers held up their phones to film the incident. So there is glass, so it's not that bad. Although, obviously they don't want you touching it at all. The man was detained and sent to a psychiatric unit. Man, yo, other countries got it so good.
Shout out to Alfred.
That would have been America. He would have got shot. At least arrested.
Tased.
And who was Alfred? You said shout out to Alfred?
Yeah, Atlanta. Remember he went to jail?
Oh yeah. Paperboy. The original Mona Lisa was painted. Did a bunch of facts about Mona Lisa. So wow. Whew. My God. Let's see what else is happening in these kooky world. United Airlines no longer accepts credit or debit cards on board.
What?
Yep. So, basically, you have to preload a credit or debit card into your account. Yeah.
They just want you to get on that shit. That the whack ass internet y'all be trying to get people paid for the stream the seconds that you overcharged people for. And it's another way to get people on your system. So I'm good on that, homie. Guess I'm gonna be getting nothing.
There's also a trial program involving PayPal QR codes connected to certain United flights. So yeah, they want you to preload a card. But the issue didn't fully register with me until I saw a customer turn down on the flight from Newark to Phoenix because she hadn't loaded a card in advance. In fact, I didn't see anyone buy anything as the flight attendants made their way down the aisle. That's what's going to happen. Right.
Because nobody's going to do that. I have a credit card. Why do you want me to sign up for your whack ass bullshit that don't nobody want? Now I got to go through extra steps. No, when you book your flight, the last thing you thinking about is now I got to download a card, because for a lot of people, you have some people that they fly one airline, but a lot of people fly multiple different airlines. So now I got to remember, for you, it's a special thing. What's going to happen is that y'all going to have a whole bunch of shit that y'all not going to be feeding people.
I can understand going cashless. That's a thing that seems to be happening more and more. And in the pandemic, being aware of, how disease spreads and stuff, I can see how people be like, yeah, we don't want to do that anymore. But no debit, no credit, that seems very short-sighted and like it's just going to lead to this.
Right. And a lot of it is like other people, like Walmart, like all these other people. There's certain, like Walmart don't take Apple Pay and all that shit. Why? Because they want you to use their shit. And so, this is a way for them to be like, use our shit. But what's going to happen is that you let 6 months or a year go by and y'all fucking around and snacks is just sitting on the motherfucking planes. Y'all reverse that shit when y'all see stuff not moving.
Yep. Let's see what else is happening. Canada to decriminalize certain drugs in British Columbia for 3 years amidst opioid crisis. They want to decriminalize, I believe it's cocaine and MDMA, which is Molly.
Okay.
In BC, British Columbia for 3 years.
Are they doing like a test run or something?
Yeah, I guess they're having a lot of overdoses. So they think this will lower the deaths, which makes sense because this is something that about the weed and stuff too that I've always thought. Government oversight is for stuff like this sometimes. I understand there's stuff where people get hurt. There's stuff where you can't decriminalize it, like you'll never be able to decriminalize pedophilia, obviously, you know what I'm saying? So like I'm not trying to make this extreme libertarian argument that these assholes always get caught up in. But for stuff like, to me, drugs, sex work, those are things that are going to exist everywhere no matter what.
Right.
And as puritanical or Christian as this nation's trying to be, is also very hypocritical, and a lot of times it just leads to further and further suffering and incarceration, obviously marginalization of people of race, of different race, LGBTQ, stuff like that. So to me, I would like the government to step in there and say, you know what, we can regulate sex work here in a way that allows it to exist but safer.
Right.
Now we're not,
and make our money too, because right now a lot of this shit you get no money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, that's the misconception. The government does make money off of criminalizing.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, right. Yeah, they make their money. They make their money off of that. They don't might not make their money off the actual transaction itself.
Right.
But they make their money on the literally the back end.
Right. So I would like to see, like, I think I'm gonna be interested in how this works out because, these are two drugs that people think are extremely dangerous: opioids, cocaine, meth, MDA. Like, what I'm saying? These are very dangerous drugs, but part of the reason they're dangerous because they're not regulated. People put all kinds of shit in them that no one knows is in there. There's no FDA for drugs.
And killing people. Said that fentanyl shit. They put
fentanyl,
and then just taking people out. It's like, if this shit was regulated, you wouldn't have to worry about people killing people, because you have people like if I was to do something like that, I'd be like, okay, what's the thing this government? Okay, yes, I'm paying 8 times the price. I don't give a fuck. I know it's regulated.
Yeah, they call it fentanyl because they be fitting it all in them drugs. It be whatever. It's some nutmeg. So like it is killing people and stuff.
Yes,
and so,
it is.
And this overdose epidemic is, I know in America it hit way hard, even harder than Canada. And Canada's like, yeah, we need to figure something out. So I'll be interested to see how this goes. And if it lowers the overdoses, and obviously, like you said, if the government's involved, they may even be able to regulate or sell it or something to offset this. Because right now it doesn't seem like they have plans on getting into the market, just decriminalizing people having some. It seems to be what they're doing right now.
Right. And a lot of times once you do that, you erase the general public stigma behind it. And a lot of times too, these people can actually get the help they need, because with you going punish, a lot of times where very few dollars go into the rehabilitation and into the getting them help and getting people back on their feet and getting them readjusted and put back into society, because it's more profitable to punish, tax, jail, the same group of people a lot of times over and over and over again, because it's a drug, so they'll be back, so where they hang. And and not to get off topic, but I remember we did was it a documentary we watched and listened to where they was talking about cops and how, they would go and like harass the family members that have been on the show, harass, the people that have been on the show.
Oh, it was a podcast.
Right.
Called Running from Cops. It's a great podcast if y'all get a chance.
Right. And so that's what happens when the whole thing is we have to, and it's designed, which means our budget is around this. Mm-hmm. Our budget is into taxing. We won't hit our goals in this little.
Yeah, once again, that's a little different because we don't know that they're getting into the selling part of it, or because like once they legalize it and like say weed in New York, you can sell it and then there's sales tax and there's tax of businesses. I don't know that that's this may be the first step towards something like that. I don't know, but right now they're just concentrating on getting the overdoses down.
And that's the thing, because you don't want your citizens dying.
Right. Speaking of which, New Jersey has raked in over $24 million in the first month of recreational pot sales.
Mm-hmm.
And like only $2 million of that is from Sterling. So the other 22 million is all them.
And the thing is, what's funny is like other states look at other states and see all the money that they're making, and they still be like, nah, but you don't want to raise taxes. You constantly want to cut taxes. You want to cut everything. But yet when you fall short, you still want to cut shit. And they're going, what we got over here is we making this money, y'all. And other states is like, nope.
Yep. All right. Last one of these stories and we'll move on. Womb-shaped cereal created to help form discussion about periods. Menstrual themed breakfast is now an option for the morning time. The cereal, which features womb-shaped flakes, has been to kickstart. Created to kickstart conversations about periods in the home. According to wellness brand Intamina, they felt there was a lack of period conversations among friends and family, and so they created Period Crunch, a unique uterus-shaped breakfast cereal. If y'all ain't got no TV commercials during Cartoon Network, it ain't real. Okay, I'm just saying. Every raspberry flavored cereal.
Mama, what's this? It's a picture of your uterus. Let's talk about your period. The fuck is this?
That would make a great commercial. Like, what is this cereal? It's like, oh, we need to have this conversation. Every raspberry flavored cereal piece is shaped like a uterus and is bright red, giving the milk a distinct red color.
Oh no!
The cereal boxes also contain.
Did a man make this?
I don't know. Contain conversation starters and a diagram of the female reproductive system to help individuals locate the uterus in the body.
No. Do you have penis pieces? No, I don't want this. Who asked for this? No.
Period crunch.
Where you got the dick crunch? Where's that at? Where's the balls crunches then? Since we're gonna do all the body parts.
Well, Cheerios that's balls. A lot of people don't know that. That's what I call mine. The brand initiated a survey of over 2,000 adults, which revealed that nearly half of the people, 48%, are embarrassed to discuss their periods, and more than 3/4, 77%, have never discussed their periods in everyday household social settings, such as around the breakfast table.
And that's a problem, and that's why people get angry when.
So you gotta break the.
Nope. That's a problem because people think that there's something wrong with their body, or either it was weird and awkward for them, so they don't know how to handle it, and they haven't even talked about comfortable. And they may not be comfortable with their own sexuality and or sex. So how it's one of those things. It's just a fucked up cycle. And cereal is not going to solve that problem.
Okay. The unusually shaped cereal serves as a conversation starter aiming to break down social boundaries surrounding period talk. Dr. Sri Datta, a gynecologist for Intima, says, I'm delighted that Intima has taken the bull by the horns and developed Period Crunch to help raise awareness on the ongoing social stigma around periods. Periods are a natural part of who we are, so it's deeply concerning to hear that so many people remain uncomfortable discussing them when they're just another part of health.
And that part I agree. I would rather have a period party than this.
Well, you was against that at first too, very vehemently.
I was. And I had to really think and reconsider it. And I think my own personal hang-up shined through. Literally my own personal.
And you're sure that's not what's happening right now, though?
me.
Yeah, that's not this. This is different.
A possibility because it don't make sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. By the way, I do think this is weird. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think we use this as a conversation starter any other way. Where it's like eat a like you said, eat a bowl of dick or eat a bowl of dick. Actually, you know what? Cypress Hill did say that.
Right, because
maybe they was trying to spread testicle cancer.
Because you gonna serve that to your kid and they gonna be like, the fuck is this, mommy?
And the milk turning red just seems like,
right, you like,
I think it's less of a conversation starter and more of a like argument starter.
You actually might make it worse for your kid.
Yeah, like that's
why I say I'd rather have the period party, because then we could actually sit down, make it fun, eat ice cream, discussions, and all that type of shit. Like, that's completely different than me serving you something that's white and it turns red.
Yeah, I'm a little sad because this is what had bought you, but I can see I just won't be able to bring this in the house.
You sure won't, sir.
I didn't know it's gonna be so upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how you order it. Like that. Like, I just feel like this whole thing was made to start podcast of people talking about it.
Well, you're gonna have it at the doctor's office because this show ain't on the shelves. I can't walk into the grocery store and be like,
it says here, Period Crunch is a PR stunt that will not hit the shelves at the grocery stores, inspired by Spain's latest bill, which offers women unlimited menstrual leave. So should you desire, time to move to Spain, ladies. People with uteruses, time to move to Spain. So should you desire a box for yourself, you can get your hands on some by contacting Swedish company directly. Okay, so you got to contact the company. So yeah, it's just a stunt, but that's a dope bill though. You get unlimited menstrual time off. Fam, that's
because
man, our country is the ghetto.
Yeah, because having a period is no joke. And for some people, it could be to the point where they can't move. Like, for some people, it actually makes it where they lay in the bed. Most people that have periods actually just survive it. Like, they literally just, surviving the shit, just kind of making it through.
I think you're approaching this wrong, and you should be trying to motivate America to adopt this law. So you need to be coming out with pussy ice cream and all kinds of pussy pops. Like,
pussy pops is completely different now.
It need to be a lot of just vagina products until they give American women unlimited menstrual time off. I mean, sound like they doing something right. You knocking it, but shit sound like the cereal works over there.
Somebody says surviving is a bit strong. No, it's not, baby. If you have never experienced the menstrual cycle,
let me guess who said it. A man.
You've never experienced a menstrual cycle. You do not understand what I said when I mean you just surviving, bitch.
Somebody without a uterus said it.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Let you bleed 5 to 7 days unexpectedly. You don't know when it's showing up.
Yeah, Joe said they're vaginally delicious.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I think it could work, man. But wow, what a policy. All right. Let's move on. Let's do some. Let's get another segment in here. We'll do some fucking with black people. Here we go.
Boo, 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 boo. Hey, we're just fucking with them people because they black. We're just fucking with them people because they black. We're just fucking with them black people. We're just fucking with them blacks. We're just fucking with black people. Hey, hey,
Greg's doing a Def Comedy Jam routine in the chat. So
he is.
If y'all want to hear a bunch of regressive women be bitches on their periods, go ahead and check out the chat.
Women, they don't know how to behave.
I don't know if that'll be on the YouTube. I don't know if it exports the chat, but
gotta put these ladies in their place. Am I right? Am I right? That's hilarious.
The other day, my wife caught me cheating and she got mad. I said, "You on your period?" Obi-Wan Kenobi's Moses Ingram calls out racist abuse from Star Wars fans. Lucasfilm, Star Trek stars show support.
Ain't that black lady?
That is that black lady, correct?
Yes.
Reva, the Inquisitor. So she says that she got hundreds of racist epithets in her inbox on Instagram.
I believe that.
So let me see if I can play this for y'all. Hold on. How do I get this on my screen? But yeah, so she had put it on her Instagram stories.
Mouth like I kissed her.
All right.
Long story short.
I'll
in the mouth like I kissed her. I make moves in silence. Hoes might never like me and I'm fine with it.
So she fought with Megan Thee Stallion.
There are hundreds of those. Hundreds.
Okay. Oh yeah. So the quotes in the one that had the Megan Thee Stallion thing, it was, "Ayo Kenobi, you ain't finna run forever, white boy. Get back here, third sister." Obi-Wan Kenobi. You have now been converted to St. George, a Floydium of the Star Wars. Are you happy? How the fuck does an alien know Ebonics spell wrong? Okay. So then this is her comment.
Story short. There are hundreds of those. Hundreds. And I also see those of you out there who put on a cape for me, and that really does mean the world to me because, you know, there's nothing anybody can do about this. There's nothing anybody can do to stop this hate. And so I question what my purpose is, and even being here in front of you saying that this is happening. I don't really know. But I think the thing that bothers me is that, like, sort of this feeling that I've had inside of myself, which no one has told me, but this feeling of like, I just got to shut up and take it. You know, I just kind of got to grin and bear it. And I'm not built like that. So I really just wanted to come on, I think, and say thank you to the people who show up for me in the comments and the places that I'm not going to put myself. And to the rest of y'all weird.
Right. What's the most exciting thing about being a part of the Star Wars universe? It's got to be the toys. I'm so excited to check out our brand new Obi-Wan Kenobi action figures right now.
But yeah, she's from Baltimore, in case y'all didn't know. But yeah, she definitely like got harassed. What's interesting is Lucasfilms and Star Wars already had prepared responses. They said they knew this was going to happen to her. They warned her when she got the job, and they said, if you just let us know when it starts, because we got your back. And they posted like stuff like there was like it's over 2,000 species in the galaxy. It says, "We are proud to welcome Moses Ingram to the Star Wars family and excited for Reva's story to unfold. If anyone intends to make her feel in any way unwelcome, we have one thing to say: we resist. There are more than 20 million sentient species in the Star Wars galaxy. Don't choose to be a racist." Come on. Yeah, like and then of course with these like pictures of her and stuff up there. Come on. And of course, you know, Kelly Marie Tran went through this.
Yes, she did.
The woman who plays
they
Rey.
ran her off the internet. Both of them. They just like shut their accounts down because they was like, it's just not worth it.
It's such a fucked up weird fan base, and I feel like to a lot of fan bases are becoming this anyway. This rabid hyper fan consumption thing that's happening with everything. It's something I realized over the years when I don't dislike a lot of stuff, but I do dislike a lot of fan bases.
I do
and
too.
It's why I think, and it's probably a bit of an overreaction, but I've cordoned off the space of the podcast and the stuff we do where I like things, and I don't want to spend a lot of time being hypercritical of things because I feel like it's a negative energy that comes with it.
It is.
And it feels very similar to these racist people and shit. And it feels like what people see as inclusion in the fan base is adopting what white dudes do with the fan base, which is being hypercritical about every move, looking into everything and seeing the conspiracy, and this may, affect my standing with some blacks. It's fine. I'll take it. But it's why when I watch the Marvel series, these Disney Plus series, I never walk away going, they did this black person wrong, because the black person who was not the main Bill cast didn't become the main character in the show. To me, that's not doing them wrong or doing them dirty. It's just like, well, of course, that person was not going to end up being the main character in episode 6. They were the 5th Bill character the whole fucking show. Dope, they got a costume. Dope, they got to use their powers. But this ain't their story, but part of that is, to me, feels very reminiscent of how white people and these white toxic ass nerds watch the shit. When they see America Chavez and something, they get mad that she's America Chavez, and there's, how dare they put somebody with this LGBTQ storyline and this brown person, and why it's got to be about that. Like, it's that type of shit, and it just makes me think of them and the feeling they want me to have when I watch stuff, and I don't want that feeling.
No, I don't either. And a lot of times you have multiple groups that come up against people. You're gonna have the right racist group. They're going to be there no matter what. But you know what? In this particular situation, guess what? You have them manosphere niggas that everybody be talking about, that some people actually agree with them on the low, but won't admit it. Yeah, y'all got fucked up views about women, dog. You just do. And you have the white nerds, you have the racists, you have the manospheres. Then long times you have the black nerds too that come and just tear shit up and extra critical just because it's black people. They put it on. They put a standard on black people that they don't have for any other race.
Yeah, so
not all, but I've just realized that.
Yeah, it's been like a something I've run from for years without thinking about it. Like, why don't I want to be, even when it's like black nerds, it feels negative. It's always, it's not good enough. This is why it sucks. This is what they should have did. And I've never gone into anything feeling that way and wanting that feeling. And I feel like a lot of people crave that feeling. And it sometimes puts me on the outside looking in, because I'm like, I don't want to be part of community that is this negative all the goddamn time. And I get that people delve in and out of it, but it ironically, it feels like Star Wars, where you start having these negative emotions, and then next thing you know, you're on the dark side, and now every time something comes out, you're part of the problem. And for something like this, that's what it reminds me of. I'm not saying this is the same, but the fact that there are fans of Star Wars that have for years been upset about Star Wars, upset about all the changes, and now they're upset about the diversity that is happening. And I'm just like, I hate these fucking fans. I hate the negativity. I hated the last season of Game of Thrones and negativity. I'm not the guy for your negative vibes. And I courted my world according to that, so that I don't have to deal with it.
Yes, and also for me personally, I fight really, really hard to keep my happiness and keep my joy. And I refuse to let the world take that from me. And so I have to set my boundaries accordingly, because I cannot wake up every day angry, go to sleep every day angry, and everything around me is anger. Like I just can't function like that. And for some people, not all, for some people it's an addiction. I've realized that. This is an addiction for you in various types of ways. And so be it political, be it whatever, is that anger, the thing that you tapped into. And so for me, I love shit. I love most things. There are things that I don't like, and I do discuss these things, but I do like most things, and I like shit. And guess what? I don't want to have to do explain why I like shit. I like shit because I like shit. Do it got to make sense, bitch? No, it don't got to make sense. It's one of those things where a lot of people like shit that other people will go, that's trash. Well, I let you do, be happy. So let me be happy.
Yeah, and I think what's another part of this is them seeing black people be happy. And this is also that thing where and I said it years ago, I was like, I get capitalism is the worst, blah blah blah. Best capitalism going, Disney capitalism. Probably black capitalism, then followed by Disney capitalism for me. If I gotta pick my order of capitalisms, those are the two. Disney capitalism so good because I remember years ago people are complaining that there's not enough Black women in the Star Wars universe. And I said, yeah, I feel you. And I get why that's a valid complaint.
Yes, it is.
I'm not, don't worry, don't stop. Like because people were saying like, man, we got Finn, we got this, what y'all worried about? And I was like, no, because Disney sees that as a need to be addressed. They don't look at it as like, y'all shut the fuck up and get what we told you.
You know what they do?
They look at it like,
money.
That's more cosplay. That's more attractions.
More
that's
dolls.
That's more movie. That's more toys. That's more video games. That's how they look at it. And low key in the Star Wars universe for the last 5 or 6 years, they've been sprinkling Black women in there a lot more than they were. And sometimes, people like it. Sometimes people don't. But and then of course people had their own respectability hangups. They don't want them to be the villain. They don't want them to be the love interest. They don't want them to be this. They don't. Whatever, people got to deal with that. But the key to all that stuff is always including more than one, and then you don't have to worry about all that. Correct. And so seeing how many more characters they're putting in there, and it just kind of starts to even out. So I'm happy. I'm so excited about Reva as a character.
Me too. I absolutely love her as a character because, like I said, for me, just her presence is such a presence where you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's go. It's like she's like, fuck what y'all talking about. Let's, y'all want to yik yak. Let's kill people. The fuck is this? Like y'all wasting time.
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I actually like that she's the flawed bad guy. Like honestly, she might end up dying in this series, and I know these niggas gonna be mad about it, but I wouldn't even be mad because like she's so out of pocket. After the episodes, I'll be like, so someone gotta kill her, right?
Right. Right.
This motherfucker right here is out of control.
They're not gonna let her just wild out with all this power.
Yeah, I'm like, somebody gotta take her ass out.
Right.
But
she gonna be a motherfucking beast to take down though.
Yeah. Then we'll get the predictable, like they killed a Black person.
It was like, dog, like you can't do the shit she doing and there'd be no consequences to it.
She is a problem.
Yeah, she's like, fuck what you heard.
Netflix canceled 0 to 100. I'm sorry.
Oh, this is 100.
Yeah, okay. 100 as well. Netflix cancels Ibram X. Kendi's animated movie Antiracist Baby. Netflix has canceled several animated projects, including Antiracist Baby.
Never heard of it.
Ava DuVernay's animated project Wings of Fire has also been given the axe. Netflix announces the layoffs and the and now he wrote the book How to Be an Anti-Racist. He's one of the people that has, people think is controversial because he's for anti-racism. I think he was a guy that was supposed to speak here in Charlotte, and the commissioner of our schools, or what do you call it, superintendent of our schools, ended up getting fired. And one of the reasons was he had a contract with the CRT speaker, who I believe was this guy, Ibram X. Kendi. He's generated controversy for statements he's made about white people. Last month, he branded Republicans as the party of white supremacy in an op-ed for The Atlantic. Okay. He wrote the GOP uses dog whistles to brand itself as the party of parents, dismissing that as a myth, a great myth. Kendi also claimed the GOP has harbored white supremacists, despite leading the greatest domestic terroristic threat of our time.
What, the same shit other people been saying?
Yeah, it's so wild because this is something I've noticed on social media where they be like, Democrats need to go hard. And they say they need to basically parrot Twitter and say stuff like this. And I always think to myself when I'm reading these articles, you think that it'll be received how it is in your silo of Twitter when it's going to be seen as some type of attack, even though I agree with you.
It's going to be considered as a threat.
Finessing how you say the shit is 90% of politics.
Yes, it is.
Like you can, like that shit will always be denied online, but we're talking to each other. You don't got to tell me what you mean when you say white supremacy. I'm not going to take it personal if you say certain things to me, but if I'm trying to convince everyone to vote for me, I do got to figure a way to say that shit different, and motherfuckers do not accept that. He also said Amy Coney Barrett was a white colonizer who used her two adopted Haitian children as props. I mean, I do want to know what this is gonna be. Like because I just can't imagine.
Sound like it was gonna be lit.
An hour and a half cartoon of anti-racist baby. Like, what was it gonna be? Was the baby gonna be giving speeches? Was you know what I'm
Baby was
saying?
gonna come out the womb speaking.
Like, well, like this baby was gonna be woke as fuck.
Wouldn't it know?
Like it shit. It might have been too much for the kids. They were. Oh, it's a baby movie. It's
You
like,
know what, baby? I changed my mind. Go ahead and give him the uterus ice, not ice cream,
Right.
but cereal.
Yeah, Mandela, 1997. Anyway, 0 to 100.
This gets I'm gonna give it a 75 because the shows got canceled, so I wanted to see them. But you know, for the fact that they got approved.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 0, mostly because I wasn't gonna watch this. I don't have kids, and I can't imagine what this would have been. I guess I could have like found something to laugh at it, but I'm not really fucked with that he lost his show. I do think he should try to get at least a clip put on YouTube or something. I just want to know what the fuck this would have looked like. Anti-racist baby, that would have been had the same song as Muppet Babies. Like what was it gonna be? Was the baby gonna be like watching black people get killed by the cops and shit? Like what was the
just in the background, the baby just gonna be just moving through life. You're just gonna see people just getting slaughtered around the baby while the baby just walking through life.
Yeah. I'm not gonna play the video, and I'll just tell y'all the headline. And I think y'all know this is gonna probably be a Jakari's.
Okay.
An unarmed black pregnant woman was shot 5 times by the police after reportedly putting her hands up. Her name was Leona Hale, 26 years old. She did survive. She's in stable condition, but no word on the baby yet. But she got stopped at a Family Dollar in Kansas City, Missouri. Said her car matched the description of a stolen vehicle. The male driver exited the car and fled. 26-year-old Leona Hale slowly got out the vehicle. When Kansas City Police Department officers ordered her to get to the ground, she put her hands up and informed them that she couldn't because she was pregnant. No, right? You'd be laying on your baby. When they asked her if there was a weapon in the car, she said there was. At no point was she holding that weapon or any object that could be mistaken for one. According to a witness named Shadanja, the woman appeared to become frightened. Shadanja says she watched Hale back away from the officers, towards a fence as officers drew their guns, and that is when they began rapidly firing at Hale. I remember because it didn't stop. They shot 5 times, she said in the video filmed following the shooting. The pregnant woman can be seen laying on the ground with blood in her shirt as Shadanja is screaming she was going to cooperate. The video was shared on social media, sparking outrage about the brutality of the shooting and officers' lack of regard to Hale's unborn child. Hale was rushed to the hospital in serious condition, but is now stable. The state of the unborn is unknown. The 2 officers responsible have been placed on administrative leave, pending investigation, which is pretty much standard after a shooting. But and of course, you know, you can't help but think about the motherfuckers that do mass shootings get taken in alive, and police that stood outside of a building, kids got killed, and these motherfuckers shot an unarmed black woman 5 times, who was pregnant and putting her hands up and didn't have a weapon.
Yeah, they shot her 5 times because the intent is to kill. Like,
that's so fucking insane. So
she survived, so that's going to be a problem.
Dracarys, obviously, to me.
Yes, sir.
You know. All right, let's try to wrap this up, okay? Because I got some plans. I'm trying to go to the store tonight.
Okay.
So let's do some sword ratchetness, and then we'll get out of here. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll play some more games and all that good stuff.
Yay!
A South Carolina man is arrested after striking a victim with a sword at a Bennettsville area home. I don't know where Bennettsville is.
Just somewhere in North Carolina?
South Carolina. Yeah.
Hmm.
Marlboro County. That does sound like some South Carolina.
That's probably
with attempted murder and possession of a weapon during a violent crime for hitting a man with a sword. Emmanuel Singleton struck a man with a sword on Hickory Road in Bennettsville. The man who was injured was taken to an out-of-state hospital and has undergone multiple surgeries. Singleton is being held in the Marlborough County Detention Center, where he received a $75,000 bond. Police said if he can make bond, he will be required to wear an ankle monitor. Authorities have found human remains.
Oh, all right, that was it for that one. That is the most southern sounding story. South Carolina, Marlborough County, Hickory Grove Road, Bennettsville.
Come on, a bunch of Hickory Grove roads.
I know they got a Cracker Barrel down there.
You know they got a Cracker Barrel. I bet you they got the bomb fishing hole too.
Yeah. All right, y'all. That's it. Thanks for listening. See you if you're on YouTube. Like, click, and subscribe on this thing. Yes. I don't know what the button is.
We don't know how to point. We ain't got used to it. To it, y'all. I don't know if it's gonna flash above or below. We give us a while. We ain't got that fancy because some of them got it perfect where they know where to aim. I don't know where to aim.
Yeah. That's it for the day. Oh shit, I almost forgot. We gotta add and I'll probably put it in later, but gentlemen, Father's Day is just around the corner, and our friends at ManScaped are here to ensure all the father figures out there are looking like daddy material this June.
Come on, daddy material.
Let's go, zaddies.
And them booty shorts or whatever the shorts is.
Hoochie daddy shorts.
Hoochie daddy shorts.
Shout out to the gays. They did it first. ManScaped's Performance Package 4.0, which includes their signature lawnmower 4.0, is a perfect bundle to tackle any and all old man hair from head to toe. That's right. It's no dad joke. Treat him and yourself and join the 4 million men worldwide who trusted ManScaped with this exclusive offer. Get 20% off and free shipping with code TBGWT at manscaped.com. Trust me, the dad bod will thank you. All right, y'all. We'll talk to y'all next time. Until then, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Woo!